Miatas have one of the best shifter feels in the business, but somehow mine missed that memo. Welcome back to the Auto Obsessive Garage. Chadwick with you again for another installment of Project Mariner Blueberry. It hasn't stopped being fun to say, so I'm just going to keep saying it. On this episode, we're keeping it focused, guys. We are just going to fix the sloppy shifter feel in this. If your Miata has a worn out shifter, and you'll know because Miatas have one of the most direct shifter feels in the business. If yours is feeling a little sloppy, especially in gear if you can move it around a lot, or your boot's torn and you go to replace your boot one day and notice that rubber insulator is completely gone and you're looking at your transmission from inside your car, this might be just the video for you. So let's get in the garage and get some work done. So now we're inside the Miata interior. We're looking at the shifter assembly and we're seeing some interesting stuff. It's one thing to have a torn shift boot, that's pretty common, but when you remove your shift boot and center console area and you can see the transmission straight through this hole, that's a whole other issue that needs to be resolved. This insulator is completely shot. I've actually never ever seen one this far gone. There is nothing. There's just the inside ring holding onto the actual shifter assembly and then the outer rubber ring here, and then I can see the turret and the transmission down below. It's not gonna work. So to rebuild it, you can buy a kit. I went through Mazda Miata, got the upper insulator, the small inside shifter one that's actually the top of the turret underneath, and the other little bushings here that you need to actually put this all back together. Now this should, I don't know how much it's gonna change the shifter feel. The shifter feels pretty good, but it is gonna help all that smell and noise and everything else that should not be coming up into your cabin. It probably should help that a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and do this. You have to remove these bolts, take the whole assembly off, as well as the shift knob, which we can just undo. So let's just go ahead and do that at this time. And I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this, our little tombstone here, just so we can have an extra amount of room here. There we go. Since we do have 4 bolts here. These look like 10mm bolts. Yeah, I'd say that's toast. What do you guys think? Oh my gosh, look at that. Completely disintegrated. Time to take this guy off. And this is the turret area. As you can see, there is manual transmission fluid in here. You want to top this off, take the old fluid out, and refill it with the same fluid you're using in your transmission. This is often forgotten about, so you probably have old fluid in here. Time to empty out the shifter turret here. So I'm going to use a little, it's a battery water remover, but I've used it for power steering, things like that. You can use a turkey baster if you have something similar to that. I'm going to be emptying it into an old spray paint can lid. Super simple stuff here. And when you go to fill back up, just fill it enough so the shifter bushing or the shifter bottom part is fully covered in fluid. Don't overfill it because it will splosh down your transmission, which I think what was going on here with everything worn out. But let's go ahead and pull some of this fluid out. Yeah, it's extremely gnarly old stuff. Not sure how this comes across on video, but you can see that's about how much fluid I removed. Very nasty, very dirty old transmission fluid. So we're gonna clean up this area right here too, so it looks nice under there, and definitely put some new fluid in. It's time to rebuild our shifter assembly in the Miata now. You didn't see me pull these two parts out of the turret. They stay down in the turret. Obviously that metal one had broken, so replacing that's important. That's why the rebuild kit comes with, you know, all these wonderful bushings you're gonna need, as well as this small insulator boot that goes right here, replaces this rotten out one. So basically we gotta strip this down, take photos, you know, memorize the order in which everything goes on so you can put your new bushings on correctly. Again, something that helps me is to lay everything out in order that you'll be applying it to the shifter. So these are the parts that go inside of the turret, so you want to set those aside and then lay out the order. So obviously plastic bushing on the bottom, this little half moony thing that goes right there. On top of that, you do have this plastic bushing with a metal retaining clip that goes on top. Now it's time to remove everything from this one. There's the aftermath, time to put the new one back together. It should improve shifter feel and improve transmission fluid loss down the side of the transmission from the turret. Those are two good things. Let's do it. I did use a hammer to get this little bushing on. It's a little cool in the garage today. I'm sure heating it up would have helped, but if you are gonna use that method, nice even taps, guys. Don't swing it like Mjolnir, like your Thor or something. Just nice and easy, get that to snap in. Make sure it pivots freely, make sure you didn't crack it like a Neanderthal. Good to go. Let's put the rest together. After getting the bottom bushing on, you're just gonna slide this one with the little metal rings, or the metal ring on top with the tabs in the right place. Just slide that right down there. Perfect. Metal part should be facing upward. Now it's time to install this bushing and plate. Now you know it's gonna be a little bit of a bear getting on, so I'd advise you to use some silicone lubricant or whatever you'd like to use. I find this stuff to work pretty good, so I'm gonna over lube it. And this is just simply gonna slide down, and by simply I mean of course it's gonna be a challenge. Okay, yeah, that silicone lube makes a big difference. There we go. And when you get down to the bottom here, you just gotta make sure the boot is off of the shift knob there. And there's a little should have a little metal ring to go under down here as well. Yep, you can see it right there. Perfect. You see that little lip right there on the shiny metal. I don't know if my camera's gonna be nice and zoom in, but let's see. Yep, see the shiny ring there on the metal, the little lip? That's what you want your rubber boot to be under. Perfect. It should be sitting right on top of this. Cool, so far so good there. So we're back inside the vehicle. You can see I've cleaned up the turret area a little bit because of course I did. So time to put the pieces that go back inside the turret, so you should have a brand new, really thin metal washer here. That's gonna be your bottom section. Drop him right in there. And next you're gonna have that plastic bushing with the metal section to go in there, and that's gonna slide in there. You have to pay attention to this little knob here, and that's basically what orients the shift knob in the correct direction. So you can simply put this little slot just like that, and when you press down on this side, it should slide down in. Perfection. It should sit right on top of that other metal washer like so. Now, before you put in your shifter assembly, you're gonna wanna top off your turret. Now I've seen everywhere different measurements, 3 ounces of fluid, whatever. I'm just gonna put it so it definitely covers the area higher than we were, because we were leaking, but just don't overfill it or you run the risk of dropping some fluid down on your transmission. I'm gonna use the same fluid that I used in the transmission. Redline MT90. Almost there, looks pretty good. Perfect. Now we want to drop our shifter actually into the turret, and it only goes one way, so you really can't get this one too backwards. Challenge accepted, right? And the reason you can is because that little plastic shape right there slides right in. Then you want to line up your plate to be with your holes here. You can see now the shifter. You can even test it, see how your shifter feels. Time to put these in. Just some word of advice. These are very low torque setting bolts. Do not go crazy, do not break these bolts off. I can imagine that's not a good time. So let's go ahead, put those bolts back in. Make sure everything's looking straight too. There we go. Awesome. Ah, it looks so pretty, doesn't it? Again, going real easy tightening these bolts down. Now at this point, if you doubt you've put your shifter assembly together or have any doubts at all, go ahead and row through your gears, see how it feels. It'll stick out if you did something wrong. So first, oh my God, it's so mechanical. Second, third, fourth, fifth, way the heck out there. Where the hell's the reverse on these? Yeah, over and down, 6th gear. Awesome. Wow, that feels, I will say this car has always felt good, but this second, third, fourth, fifth, reverse is over here. Too many different gearboxes in the cars I own, but as you can see, wow, that feels extremely good rolling through the gears, and I don't even have a knob on there yet, so awesome. That's freaking great. Now it's time to replace this big gnarly nasty thing. All right, time to install our insulator boot here. Should be pretty straightforward. We're just gonna plop that over the shifter. Find all the spaces where it gets bolted in. You know what wouldn't hurt? Some lube. There we go, nice and easy. Now line up our holes here. Awesome, guys. Well, it's kind of a shame we can't see our transmission anymore from inside the car, but I'm pretty sure everything's going to be a lot happier. That shifter's not going to leak anymore. The turret's full, all new bushings. This thing feels absolutely wonderful. And again, we're going to do a shift boot. Spoiler alert for the future, but yeah, this is good stuff. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, reverse. Oh my God, no slop. This thing is, what a shifter. Ah, perfect. Nothing increases the sporty feel of these cars any more than having a nice crisp shift throw, and this accomplished that. Awesome.